I want to thank our reader for the great reading today, and Gary Lynn Floyd and our music team for the great music supporting the message. This month of August, our theme is playfulness, and our first message is being curious. As our reading suggested today, adopting a playful, open demeanor can serve us well along this journey. I love being playful, and I know that it serves me on my earthly journey, and that it certainly dispels the notion that playtime is a waste of time, because I find it very renewing. How about you? When was the last time you took time to play and to truly be curious? Think about that for a moment as I give you your question for the week. What is the one choice that you might make today to adopt an attitude of curiosity, to allow a new perspective to overcome judgment, and to step out of your comfort zone into adventures? One more time. What is the one choice you might make today to adopt an attitude of curiosity, to allow a new perspective to overcome judgment, and to step out of your comfort zone into adventures? I'm sure you've all heard that saying, curiosity killed a cat, but satisfaction brought it back. Sometimes I like to say, I asked why, and now I know why my toaster doesn't work in the bathtub. That's curiosity and a lesson in one. Seriously, today I want to explore how curiosity is actually a spiritual practice, a way to see the world, not through the lens of judgment or fear, but through wonder and openness and possibilities. Catherine Economou said, "Curiosity is the seed of spiritual growth. It breaks through hardened assumptions and blossoms into new understanding." Yet, curiosity is actually a spiritual superpower. And in case you haven't been around long enough for me to say this and you have heard it more than once, the words "I'm curious" are magical. I had a really good friend that I worked with in Portland at one of the companies, and she came into my office one day and she was talking about her husband and how they just couldn't resolve this one issue that kept coming up over and over again in their marriage. And I said to her, well, what if the next time you have a conversation, you just say, "I'm curious about your point of view. Tell me more about that." And then after you have the conversation and you hear more about it, you might say, well, might you consider listening to my point of view? Well, she came in the next day and she said, "I just want you to know that those words 'I'm curious' and 'might' are magical. We've been working on this issue for months and we got it resolved last night." So the moral of the story is, judgment separates us, but curiosity connects us. I hope you remember in the meditation today that I invited you to arrive in each moment not as an expert, but as an explorer. Lao Tzu told us, "In the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities. In the expert's mind, there are few." Once we think we are experts and know all the answers, we lose that ability to see all the possibilities that are outside our own way of thinking. Now, we judge based on our own beliefs that we're an expert. You know, Matthew 7:1 we read, "Judge not, that you be not judged. I know we all judge, it's human, but judgment is often a shield to protect us from uncertainty or from fear. A monk once said, "The day I stopped needing to be right was the day I finally started to learn." When we're judging others, we're placing our own values and our beliefs on their behaviors. We're not looking to be curious about why or what might have caused them to have certain behaviors or different beliefs than ours. So let's try a spiritual practice. It's called a curious perspective. Think of the last time that you judged somebody or some event. Now, what if you had allowed being curious to show up and had asked, why did I experience or see this? What am I not seeing? What else might be possible? When you replace, why is this happening to me, with, why is this happening for me, you enter that sacred territory of curiosity. And by the way, everything in the universe is for you. We are not victims. Here's another spiritual practice called the curiosity pause. Before reacting or answering, pause and ask, what else might this mean? What else might this mean? Curiosity is the open door, the breath between stimulus and response. When we're curious, we don't assume, we inquire. We make space for the truth rather than just reacting with our own conditioned minds. A Course in Miracles in Lesson 25 tells us, I do not know what anything is for. When we embrace that lesson and make it part of our lives, it's not a confession of ignorance, it's an invitation to look again, to be curious. When we adopt an attitude of, I don't know, but I'm willing to see, miracles can unfold. And how do we do that? Well, here's a spiritual practice I recommend. It's called the uncomfortable inquiry. Pick an opinion or a belief that you hold dear and gently explore the opposite. It's not that I'm asking you to abandon your truth, but just expand your view. Be willing to see with a new perspective. In addition to opening the mind, curiosity softens the ego and it invites in spirit. Buddha told us, be a lamp unto yourself. Think about it. What does a lamp do? It illuminates. Curiosity lights the path even when we don't know where it leads. And that can be quite an adventure. And if you want to be a really good friend, invoke curiosity in them by possibly asking them, what's something you're curious about right now? Remember, there's no judging, no fixing. Just listen to the response with an open mind and with wonder. You'll notice that you'll find connections deepening, not in the answers, but in just being present and being curious about their lives. Do you ever notice how curious children are? They have to be curious to learn and to function in this world. And yet, children typically are curious But they don't judge, they just explore. They see their kingdom of heaven through wide-eyed wonder. In Matthew 18:3, we read, "Unless you change and become like little children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven." I don't know about you, but I want to enter that kingdom of heaven, and I want that kingdom of heaven right now here on earth. And I know it's possible. When was the last time you felt childlike wonder? Think about it. Let's try another spiritual practice called living in the kingdom. Look around at some ordinary object. It might be the tree, a flower, a spoon, even your own hand. Now, try to see it as if you were seeing it for the first time, as if you were a child and this is the first time you had seen it. Let it amaze you. Let it surprise you. How did that feel? You were invoking curiosity. Curiosity is the rocket fuel for adventure. Neil Donald Walsh once said, "Life begins at the end of your comfort zone." I stepped out of my comfort zone once. Turned out it was just the parking lot. Seriously, even a parking lot can become sacred ground if we walk it with curiosity. What if instead of fearing the unknown, we got curious about it? What might open up for you if you approached a current challenge in your life with curiosity instead of fear or dread? I'm going to repeat that. What might open up for you if you approached a current challenge in your life with curiosity instead of fear or dread? Spirituality doesn't have to be serious. Curiosity is playful. It laughs at absurdity. It rolls with mystery. And here is how curiosity helps us with those challenges. Curiosity is not about getting it right. It's about staying engaged. G.K. Chesterton said, "Angels fly because they take themselves lightly." So remember, curiosity isn't just about discipline. It's a delight. And it becomes a delight when we embrace curiosity and invite it into our lives. Ernest Holmes reminded us, the realization that we live in a spiritual universe, that God is in, through, around, and for us, is the beginning of wisdom. And wisdom begins with wonder. So, let's try another spiritual practice. It's called the Wonder Walk. Take a 10-minute walk without your phone. Just observe what you see and ask curious questions like, why does that tree lean like that? Where is that breeze coming from? I wonder what makes those flowers so vibrant. And while you're contemplating the answers to those curious questions, allow yourself to enjoy what you see and feel. Curiosity is not a form of weakness. It's a form of faith. It says, I trust there is more to this. I believe in discovery. I choose to see again, freshly. We learn from A Course in Miracles, all things are lessons God would have me learn. So let life teach you through curiosity, not fear. Let each moment you ask, what if? Albert Einstein, the genius, told us the important thing is not to stop questioning. Curiosity has its own reason for existing. So remember to be an explorer, not a finished product. So in summary, how might you learn to be more curious? Well, decide to adopt an attitude of curiosity. See the world with wonder and openness and possibilities. Adopt a beginnings or a childlike mind. And allow new perspectives to overcome judgment. Question your thoughts. Say, I'm curious. Learn to ask, what else might this mean? And step out of your comfort zone into adventure. Practice seeing things as if you were seeing them for the first time. Take a wonder walk and be curious. Always be asking, what if? Or, what's the lesson here? So here's your affirmation for the week. How is it I so willingly, energetically, and effortlessly adopt an attitude of curiosity, allow a new perspective to overcome judgment, and step out of my comfort zone into adventures? And your challenge for the week? Make a conscious choice each day to practice being curious. Add I'm curious to your vocabulary and commit to using spiritual practices that will enhance your ability to be curious, either the ones you heard today or some that you've made up. Let's pray. We take a moment just to settle into that space within our hearts where we know all of the good of God exists. The love, the joy, the peace, the ease, the comfort. And we know that as children of the divine, all of that is ours. That we are love, that we are kindness, that we are compassion. And what I know to be the truth is that each of us was here today to hear something. And we can each remember daily to say, I am curious about life. I release any judgment that I hold. We can be bold and know how curiosity releases judgment. We can let life teach us through curiosity, not fear. And we can always remember all things are lessons that God would have us learn. Divine Spirit, what I know to be the truth is that each of us has heard something today that's helping us to live this month of playfulness and to be curious. I see each of us being the embodiment of divine love. Guide our steps with wisdom. Fill our days with gentleness and with vision. And let each of us be rooted in peace and lifted by love. Choosing today to live in divine alignment with the truth of our being, knowing that all that we are and all that we might become is right within us. I am grateful to know all of these people have chosen to spend some time with us today. I'm grateful for their presence and grateful that we can go forth with joy and with courage and with an open heart, knowing we are guided to be wonder-filled, curious selves. And it's from that gratitude that with joy, blessings, I release this into the divine yes, knowing it's already done, knowing that I can say amen and we can affirm it together. And so it is. And again, I want to thank everyone that continues to donate. Thank you for supporting our community. Have a great week. Enjoy our offertory song.